What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're going over Solana as the weekly close yesterday actually put us in a fantastic position to see some growth that definitely could lead us to see some even stronger gains from this point forward. And so in today's video, I wanted to cover the significance of the move that just happened and what we can expect from the price going forward. Now, I know it is a little bit weird that my camera is not on, but as you guys do know, I have an MMA fight this weekend. I still have about 12 pounds to lose. I'm down about 15 pounds already, so I am just cutting weight. I'm not feeling the best, and so leading up to this weekend for the fight, I probably won't be behind the camera as much, but I do plan on making as much content as I can. But with that said, of course, you can go to b2fs.com on Saturday night to purchase the pay-per-view tickets. It's like 15 bucks. You can watch me throw down, but other than that, if you're here for the crypto, let's go ahead and get into it. So, of course, what I was talking about earlier was the fact that we did get a very strong weekly close yesterday. Now, to the blind eye, this may not really appear so important, but whenever you look at your 20-week simple moving average, you will see the level of relevance of this closing. Now, what you can see is that we actually did get the close above the 20-week simple moving average, and at this point, are still holding it. It is currently at about $131 and slowly ticking down, of course, because over the last 20 weeks, we were in a downtrend. Now, the reason that this is so important is because when we compare it and put it into relation to our Bollinger Bands, that then puts us into the position to possibly see a move as high as up to $215 pretty soon. Now, the way in which we know this is we need to understand what the Bollinger Bands are. Well, the Bollinger Bands are going to be a set of 3 lines to keep it as simple as possible. Now, those 3 lines are going to make something called an envelope. So you can see line number 1, line number 2, and line number 3, and the accumulation of these lines makes an envelope called your Bollinger Band envelope. Now, the way in which you're going to find these 3 lines is first and foremost, you're going to start with your 20 simple moving average. Now, once you take this 20 SMA, all you're simply going to do is do 2 standard deviations away from the price to the top side or positive and 2 negative standard deviations away to the downside in order to get these lines here. So this is 2 standard deviations to the top side. This is 2 standard deviations to the bottom side. Now, generally speaking, when a crypto reaches 2 standard deviations away from its 20 simple moving average, it can only maintain it for short amounts of times, considering it to be quote unquote overextended. And something that we know is that the price of a crypto will almost always resort back to its 20 simple moving average. And as it reaches these 2 standard deviations, or as it reaches its Bollinger Bands, as we can see here, it will very often resort back to this 20 simple moving average in what is considered a macro reset. Now, from that macro reset, the price of the crypto will oftentimes decide, are we going to go revisit the top side now, or are we going to do 2 standard deviations back towards the bottom to then start to look for some support towards the bottom side here. This is a macro reset, and when we're capable of breaking above it, it is a sign that the bullish momentum is starting to slowly take over, and we very possibly could be revisiting the top side, which looks at this point to be still up around $208. So what we need to be on the lookout for right now is, does the price of Solana stay above $131 and about 7 cents? If capable of doing so, I think we are in a position to retest some of these highs up here, which again could look as high as $220, which puts that purchase that we had of $110 over in the Patreon up nearly 100%. And so for that reason, we need to keep an eye on $131. Now, putting this into perspective of indicators, one thing we can see is that we are very close to getting a bull cross on the weekly MACD. Now, generally speaking, when we see these bull crosses happen on weekly based perspectives, this usually does get followed by growth. It is not super common that we will see such a strong bull cross followed by losses. As you can see, the last one we got was way back here, and previously before that, if we do kind of just zoom in, we may have had one more. This chart may not show it. There we go. It was right here on January 11th, 2021. And if we do go ahead and just put that into perspective of what that was going to be right back here. Okay. So as you can see, that was right here. It was followed by growth. The next one, growth. The next one, growth. one could almost say that if we get one here, could definitely be followed by growth. Now, don't forget that that is also put into kind of juxtaposition with the idea that we are seeing extreme bullish divergence on the weekly RSI. Now, what that's going to look like is the fact that, as you can see here, we have taken from the most recent macro low back on, around 23 bucks on July of 2021, we have confirmed the next low. We have put in the higher low at this point now that we've gotten this bounce. But when you put that relative to the RSI, you can see that we have put in the lower low. So when you have a divergence, whenever you see the price doing one thing and the RSI doing another, that is called divergence of one direction. Now, whenever you have the bottoms diverging, whenever the bottom is making a low and a higher low and a low and a lower low, that is bullish divergence. That's the divergence you want to see. You want to see that the RSI has been capable over this time of falling to reset. It has gone to the bottom, but the bulls have been capable of holding the price up throughout that reset in order to set the higher low to continue the macro uptrend while all of this door of opportunity is opened. This is an absolutely amazing setup for some possible growth here, and it just comes down to, are we capable of finding some support, some higher low support at this point, and continuing towards the top side. If you do look at the Bollinger Bands on the daily perspectives, we are extremely extended into them, and eventually, as we did see back here, we will see the moments in which we come back down to retest it, even if it's just little pullbacks like this, right? Or like this, of this nature. Eventually, we will come back to retest it, but at this point, we are in a position in which, as the market does continue to grow, we definitely could be looking at some continued growth towards the top side, and I am very, very happy about it. Now, you guys know that my next purchase at this point comes if we are capable of getting back above and holding above $135. I told you guys that that was an extreme level of significance that gives us a confirmed breakout of that 20-week simple moving average, as well as breaking back above this key area of confluence of support, in which if we can flip this support into even more support again, that could be a fantastic move towards the upside. So at this point, the whole point of today's video is to show you guys that this close that we got yesterday puts us in a fantastic position. So we need to be in, awareness, and we need to be watching very closely to see, can we maintain this and continue forward? If the price does start to fall, it is not the end of the world, but we definitely do need to hold some support and pull back on any accumulating and purchasing until we're capable of, again, recapturing that 20-day simple moving average. So if we start to hold above 135 on maybe like 1 or 2 daily closes, do expect me to have another video coming soon talking about the purchases that I am doing. But at this point, be on the lookout for the support establishment above 131. Look for us to get 1 or 2 daily closes above that level to confirm that we are maintaining and that we are going to hold that 20-week simple moving average. Because if that is the case, I wouldn't be surprised at all again to at least come back up towards $200. So overall, today's goal was just to tell you guys that we made a very big move that does have some pretty big implications, that the future could be very bright, and it is something that I am extremely excited about. If you guys are equally as excited about it, you can of course always let me know simply by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.